Hi everybody and welcome to a special edition of Heel Heat. This is our second question and answer segment. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, Axel Rotten.
Curtis Axel. Gary Rhodes, everybody.
He is rotten.
Whatever.
We're going to go right into it. As you've seen on the first one, we did a Q&A, mostly Josh's questions. This time we have some questions from some others. We'll go right into our good friend, Closure Domus, sent us a bunch of questions, and we'll do his first. Where would you rank this year's WrestleMania among the others? What do you think?
Well, on a scale like 1 to 10?
I don't know, as far as a WrestleMania.
As far as WrestleMania, if I was going to a scale of 1 to 10, probably a 5, maybe 6.
I'd say right in the middle of the road. I mean, there have been a lot of WrestleManias that are worst, and a lot that are a lot better. The main event drug it down, in my opinion.
It did. The best part of it was Punk and Taker. That should have closed the show.
Yeah, it should have, but it didn't. I like Triple H and
Brock
Lesnar, but overall, it was a middle of the road WrestleMania. It wasn't as bad compared to other recent ones. 28 I thought was a lot better. 27 was probably one of the worst that they've ever had.
I didn't like the fact that this one here was just basically a commercial for WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
That's what drug it down for me. It's like, all they talked about was 30. Like, this is 29. You got another year yet. But that's my opinion.
Another one from Closure. Do you guys ever see a unification match between the WWE and World Heavyweight Championships happening? With them ending the brand extension, I could see it happening. I don't think they will do it because it gives more people a championship, and if you're holding a championship, you're a better draw.
Exactly, I have to agree with you on that. I always have it deep in my heart that maybe one day they will have the brand separation again. It was a better product. I mean, you compare 2004, 2005 to 2012, 2013.
Well, look at the difference. Look at the difference then and now. Back then, SmackDown was the better of the two shows, and now SmackDown is 75% Raw recap show.
That's the problem with Vince now. I think it's all a matter of saving the almighty dollar, which he could probably make more money if he had a separate product. My opinion.
But to your question, anything could happen. I mean, I never thought that they would combine the Hardcore and Intercontinental title, and they did. And again, from Closure, do you think the Undertaker will wrestle more pay-per-views than WrestleMania this year? Well, he's already done one.
Yeah, and he was supposed to wrestle at this Extreme Rules. The whole thing with the Shield, you never know. They could be building it up for Ambrose and Taker next year's WrestleMania. I
could always see something happening with the Shield at the Survivor Series, Undertaker and the team versus the Shield's team. I don't think he's going to wrestle SummerSlam. If anything else, I see him wrestling Survivor Series. Plus, that's the show he's starting.
I'll say that's his bread.
Is this will this be his 25th anniversary, or is that it's next year? Because he came in '89. Was it '89 or yeah? It was '89.
Okay, yeah, it was '89.
'88 was the Mega Powers versus Money Incorporated team.
I don't know. I'd like to see that. I think Survivor Series is his second pay-per-view.
Yeah. And again, from Closure, do you guys ever see The Rock? Do you guys ever see The Rock ever wrestling again?
I don't think so.
I say yes.
I don't think so, just for the fact of, he got the surgery, an injury, this pay-per-view. That's going to cost him more money out of his movie time. He already missed his Pain and Gain, all the going and
yeah, but he just had the Fast 6 premiere and it blew up the box office.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think that The Rock and Vince McMahon are good enough friends that if Vince says, hey man, we need you bad to pump up the SummerSlam ratings, pump up WrestleMania ratings, I could see another match. They always have the rubber match, him and Cena.
The
as much as I hate to say it, there is And, you know, he probably owes Punk a win, too.
Yeah. He does owe Punk a win.
I mean, he does, but if he'll come back for it. I think Rock legitimately loves wrestling. He just is making too much money doing movies, and he has to balance that. I mean, do you want to come and work 6 months and get $5 million, or do you want to work 6 weeks on G.I. Joe or Fast and the Furious or whatever other project he has and make $20 million?
That's the problem.
I mean, you know, The Rock's a huge star. I can see it happen. I honestly see it happening. I don't know if it's this year. I don't know if it's next year.
Well, it's supposed to be him and Brock at next year's Mania.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes.
Then, again, for closure, is there any hope for the Divas division? Yes.
Bring Finlay back. I think Finlay was one of the best trainers they had for the Divas. If you look at the Divas that trained under Finlay before he got on television, when he first came, when WWE first bought WCW, that was his bread and butter, was working with all the Divas. Then he became a television character. But bring him back like that, I think he'd be an excellent trainer for them again.
Well, you got to look at it. They have the potential. AJ Lee's a good wrestler. Caitlyn is decent. Tamina Snuka is good. Beth Phoenix. Natty Neidhart is amazing. Plus, you got some girls in developmental. Paige is awesome. Summer Rae actually was very good. Now I know she's just Jericho's Fandango's dancer right now, but she's a good wrestler. I mean, you got some good talent in the developmental now that hope. I don't think the problem is the talent. I think the problem is the TV time they're getting. They're getting 5-minute matches, and I don't care if you're Ric Flair or you're Shawn Michaels. If they give you a 5-minute match, no one's going to care about it.
No.
And that's the problem. It's not a matter of the Divas, in my opinion. It's a matter of the booking. So all it takes is someone saying, you know, we should really ramp up the Divas division, and I think it'll go strong. Again, for closure, would you like to see Team 3D win one more tag team championship, along with Bully's world title and Devon's TV title, kind of like Austin and Triple H did in 2001? I mean, we know my answer.
I think it'd be cool, but I think it'd be great if there were some other tag team out of the Aces and Eights had it. That way, the Aces and Eights would hold all the belts.
Of course, I would love to see them win a tag team championship. They're the greatest tag team ever.
Well, would you rather see them win it in TNA, or would you rather see them end their tag team championship runs in WWE? That's the question.
I think they closed the door. I think them not going this time, whether Vince wanted them back or not, you know, when their contracts both came up, I think they both signed, I think, 2-year deals, which isn't, they're not going to be that much older, but it's going to give them basically 10 years away from the WWE. And WWE fans, for a large part, don't know or care about TNA, and 10 years away from the WWE is a long time. I mean, they're not The Rock. They're not Hulk Hogan. They don't have that name. To wrestling fans, we know them. But they don't have that name where, you know, kids that started watching wrestling started watching the WWE specifically, after the Dudleys left, they've heard their name, but they don't remember them.
I think you're wrong. I think if Vince realizes, hey, you know, Bully won that world title run, he's not going to get it working for me, I'll let him have that. And plus 2 years down the road, I mean, what's it going to hurt? You know, I don't know. But I think a title run for them wouldn't hurt. I think it'd be nice.
I'd love it. Either in Aces and Eights or WWE or Ring of Honor or anywhere else.
That'd be nice if they had a Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship.
It'd be one of the few they haven't had. If the rumors are true, where do you see Batista fitting in today's product? I could easily see Batista going right up to the number 3 guy. I don't think he's going to be bigger than Cena. No, he's definitely not going to be bigger than Cena. I think he could be as big as Punk. Before he was bigger than Punk. Batista, he has a great look. He has a perfect look for a wrestler, and his in-ring talent's a lot better than most people give him credit for.
Oh yeah. I would go with you on that. I'd say if he's going to go back, be like a number 3 guy. As long as you don't do the whole, I'm only going to wrestle the pay-per-views and part-time deal.
No, we have too many of those already.
Exactly. If he's going to do that, then I'd just rather see him out of the ring, to be honest with you. Because like you just said, we're flooded with that. You need to start building new talent. And if that, if you're going to bring Batista back full-time, or at least with a Jericho schedule, that would be fine. Because look what Jericho's doing. He's not out for himself.
He's doing 4 or 5 months out. 5 months a day.
But the thing is with him too is he's helping build younger talent, and that's what you got to do right now.
So I could easily see him being a focal point right again.
Batista Brock, WrestleMania 30.
And I believe this is the last of Closure's questions. I don't know if you guys only took questions on the current product, but I'll ask one just in case. We'll take any question you want. And here's the question. I think Mohamed Hassan could have been one of the biggest heels in history. What's your opinion?
Definitely.
He was the biggest heel of that year that he had his big push. I mean, the guy was a good wrestler. I thought his gimmick was spot on. It's the gimmick they always run with something like that, very topical. I think the WWE pulled the plug, got way too skittish, way too fast.
Plus, the character, the guy that played Mohamed Hassan didn't really love wrestling as much as most guys do. Because
I think that was part of the reason he didn't love it, though, that they just destroyed it. I mean, if anybody remembers, they taped a SmackDown where he did a whole angle where they carried out the Undertaker, and just by that, he's feuding with the Undertaker, so obviously he's big.
Mm-hmm.
He had guys dress up like terrorists carry out the Undertaker that was leading to a match at Great American Bash, which was that Sunday. Well, when it aired on Friday, was the Al-Qaeda had bombed somewhere in London. I don't remember the exact specifics, I'm sorry. I don't mean any disrespect by that, but Al-Qaeda's bombed billions of things. And UPN at the time went to Vince and said, we can't have this on our show anymore. Which, if Vince was smart, he would have just moved him to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
But he altogether took him off the show. And Undertaker destroyed him at Great American Bash, which Undertaker was probably going to win anyway, but it probably wouldn't have been a squash.
Yeah. And just killed the character.
It just killed him, and Mohamed Hassan left the business altogether. I definitely thought, I mean, he could have easily been this generation's Iron Sheik.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, the guy was Italian.
Yeah.
He wasn't even Arabic or anything.
Yeah.
But he was a good actor.
I think he definitely could have. Great question, Closure. Now, the next set of questions is from Mike Kirwan. I have some questions I would love you to answer. First, what is your favorite SmackDown moment? I'll go ahead and let you go with this one first.
Probably when Austin destroyed the DX bus. It was pretty big. It was a pretty big moment for that show. It was one of the first moments of that show. It's down between that and HBK screwing over The Rock when it was the first championship match. Rock versus Triple H, and HBK super kicked him when he's coming in for the people's elbow. That's kind of a tie for me.
Mine was the Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio cage match. I think it's one of the best matches in SmackDown history.
Better than the Brock and Angle Iron Man match? I thought that was pretty excellent too.
That was excellent too. I just like the fact that this was the first time we really got to see Kurt Angle speed up his pace.
Mm-hmm.
And he played into Rey Mysterio's speed. And both the guys were taking huge bumps off the cage. Kurt Angle went for the moonsault off the top of the cage. I mean, Kurt Angle, probably one of the best cage match wrestlers ever.
He's one of the best wrestlers ever, I think.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying,
I can't remember
if he had a specialty, like Foley has Hell in the Cell, if Taker has casket matches.
I can't remember who wrestler it was. It was a shooting interview, and he said he worked with Kurt years ago when Kurt first came in, then ended up working with him again like a couple years back. He said it was night and day how much in 6 years or 7 years that Kurt became a new guy in the business to one of the best to ever wrestle.
Then his next question is, what is your dream match? I'll go ahead and let you go first, Gary? Would it be a 6-man tag with Larry the Axe, Kurt Axel, and Kurt Hennig?
I would like to see Kurt Hennig versus Dolph Ziggler. I think those two complementing styles, you know, their styles complement each other so much that I think that would be a great match. And my second one would probably be very unpopular. Would be Benoit versus Bryan.
That's a great match. I would love to see the Dudley Boys versus the Legion of Doom. I don't think they've ever wrestled each other. They never crossed paths, and if they did, it was at the end of Legion of Doom's run.
Well, WWE dropped the ball. They put Legion of Doom against Kane and RVD. They should have done them against the Dudleys.
I mean, you got the two greatest tag teams there have ever been in the match with each other. Close second, I really would have liked to see Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair in their prime. I mean, they faced off.
Prime.
Yeah, they faced off at WrestleMania 24, and they're both. Don't get me wrong, it was one hell of a match, but Ric Flair, let's say 85 Ric Flair versus 97 Shawn Michaels would have destroyed. It would have been the greatest match it's ever had.
You remember the match they had in '91?
Yeah.
With the Rocker, Shawn Michaels, and that was an awesome match. But it wasn't. It was just a Shawn Michaels jobber.
Yep.
At that point versus Ric Flair, the legend.
And another one that I think would be awesome. I'm sorry if I'm taking three of them, but oh well. My top one is the Legion of Doom versus Dudleys. CM Punk versus Macho Man Randy Savage.
Can't go wrong with that either.
I mean, just the interviews that these guys could do about each other would make it worth it. I don't care if they went out there and had a 2-minute match. The interviews would be a dream.
What do we got next?
Our next question from Mike is, do you think The Undertaker should return full-time?
No.
I agree with you, no. We just talked about the part-time guys. He is the only guy, well, him and Triple H, that I think I like I'm okay with the part-time schedule with them. I kind of wish one of the two would go away. If either one of them does the part-time thing, that's fine. I don't like that both do it at the same time, and they both come back for the same time. If they said, let's have Taker come back at WrestleMania, Triple H could come back at SummerSlam, and Taker does Survivor Series, Triple H does Rumble. That would be better than having them both come back for WrestleMania season.
Yeah.
And just in my opinion, nothing against either guy. At this point in his career, I like Taker more as an attraction than an in-ring combatant. Plus, his body just wouldn't handle it. I mean, the guy's almost 50. What can TNA, our next question, what can TNA do to get better?
Buy a time machine and hire Paul Heyman. I mean, honestly, there's so much fat to be cut from that budget. That's what I mean when they were scouting for help from Heyman. I think they should have picked up Heyman. I think the reason they didn't hire Heyman is because Heyman was
Want to
fire Bischoff, Hogan, basically a lot of guys that are just leeching off the system.
My opinion would be is push the homegrown talent. Push the guys, and not necessarily all the homegrown talent, but you can name off a list. Bobby Roode, James Storm, Austin Aries, and I know Austin Aries came from Ring of Honor and all. AJ Styles, I did say AJ already.
No.
AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Chris Sabin. I mean, just those 7 guys. Samoa Joe.
Well, you look when
Magnus.
When Bobby Roode had the world title.
Yeah.
That was a compelling time. There was a decent storyline. The matches were great. And I like Bully Ray as a champion, don't get me wrong, I know that's one of your favorites. But if you're going to push the homegrown talent, as soon as these guys lose their belts, they're basically down the road jobbing.
Yep. I mean, I think that's my opinion. Push the homegrown / younger talent. Because a guy like Mr. Anderson's not a homegrown talent, but
he's younger, and he could go.
Let's go right into his next one. Do you like the Aces and 8 storyline?
I'll let you get this one here first. What's your...
Sometimes, some parts I do. A lot of times it's a rehash of the NWO, and a lot of times it's very monotonous.
I agree with you.
There's some things that were really exciting, but I would say 20% of it I like.
Before Bully took over or became the president,
It was garbage.
it was garbage. I mean, the Aces and Eights were losing every match.
And it was nothing but full of jobbers.
Exactly, they were losing their steam. Now that Bully's the champion, they got him and Devon together. They're actually looking really good. I would go there about 40% of what they could do.
Next question is, why do you think Cena should turn heel? I'll go ahead and go. His character's just stale the way it is. I mean, every wrestler gets to this point, whether you're a heel or a face, they get to this point where their character becomes stale, and that's why heel turns and face turns are necessary to freshen up the character.
Well, you take a look at the heel John Cena from 2002, was it 2002, 2001?
About 2002 to 2004 when he was the Doctor of Thugonomics.
He was a better, compelling character.
Yep.
You were wanting to watch to see what this kid was going to do. You wanted to see what kind of shit he was going to start.
And you wanted him to become world champion.
Exactly. And the whole time, he was going against the face Brock Lesnar, and he was going against the Undertaker. He was going against Eddie Guerrero. And he was actually JBL. Well, JBL when he was
yeah, that's right.
Face. But anyways, you take a look at the three guys I said before JBL, and you look at the styles of matches. Cena was a better wrestler when he was a heel. He didn't have the 5 moves or
6-8 combo queer.
Thanks, Lou. He actually had a compelling style in the ring and a compelling character outside of the ring. I think it was a better all-around job. Now it's just, like you said, it's the same rehashed bullshit that we've seen last week, the week before. And he's Super Cena, which everybody hates Super Cena.
Next question is TNA ever going to get close to WWE? No. TNA doesn't have the bankroll that WCW did, and that's what brought, more than anything, that's what brought WCW above WWE for the short time they were above them.
I don't care how much money Dixie's daddy's got. He didn't have Ted Turner money in the 90s.
And even if he did, he's not pumping it into the talent. And even if they do, I mean, that's just the problem. Vince McMahon is so much smarter than any other promoter has ever been. And that's including Paul Heyman. Because Paul Heyman was a great promoter, but he promoted to a niche market that only had so much. There was only so far ECW could go.
Exactly.
WWE is the global brand. WWE is UFC. You think, or NFL. You think of football, you don't think of the Canadian Football League. You think of the NFL. There's a Canadian Football League, but it's not the NFL. When you think of mixed martial arts, there's tons of other mixed martial arts organizations, but UFC is the thing. WWE is so far ingrained in everybody's brain that it is the company that I don't think TNA is ever going to catch up. If they would have stayed NWA, they would have had a chance because NWA had the history.
Exactly.
Now, his next question is, who do you think should get released? Why don't you give me one from each of the two, WWE and TNA?
WCW?
Yeah, basically.
TNA? Hogan. WWE?
Hogan?
Out of the record books.
He's not Benoit.
Right now, there's a lot of guys that should be released from WWE. I'd probably just say Zack Ryder. No, I'll say Santino.
You just... Alright, I'll give you two guys. We'll go a little bit different than Hogan because you went the Hogan route. Honestly, and I hate to say it, it's... Sting.
Sting Bun?
I mean, Sting brings a certain amount of excitement, but to me, he's tarnishing his legacy. And that's my opinion. I'd rather see Sting retire or Sting get in good shape to wrestle one huge match in WWE, which would be Undertaker, but other than that, he's out of shape, he's balding, And he's just not the guy he was 15, 20 years ago.
Who from WWE?
Khali.
I have to agree with you on that one.
Khali just does nothing for me at all. He's not even a scary monster anymore.
No.
Which, when he was a scary monster, at least he had something you could sell. Our next question is, should AJ, I'm guessing AJ Styles, go heel or face?
And who should he feud with?
And who should he feud with?
I say heel. And Daniels. I like him in Daniels. I think I would turn Daniels babyface.
I say leave him the way he is as a tweener and feud with everybody. Feud with TNA.
That.
Feud with TNA for pushing him away. Feud with Aces and Eights for
being themselves.
Being Aces and Eights. Our final question from Mike Kirwan. What can WWE do to get better?
Hire new writers.
The one thing you touched on earlier, go back to the brand extension. New writers that are actually wrestling fans. Put some former wrestlers in the writing roles. Someone like Arn Anderson already on the payroll. Ricky Steamboat already on the payroll. Put these guys.
Jake Roberts would be a great writer.
Jake Roberts. I would, I'd give Jake Roberts a caveat that he works out of Connecticut. That way he doesn't have to tour and get the
Exactly. You get the itch.
Get the itch to do drugs or drink.
And Scott Hall would be a great. Right now, if you look at DDP's house, he's got two of the greatest wrestling minds in the business sitting there: Jake Roberts and Scott Hall.
Hell, a lot of people give him shit, but Kevin Sullivan would be a great hire to help out.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine if they actually wanted to do it? They could sit and have a room with Vince McMahon, Vince Russo, Kevin Sullivan, and Paul Heyman deciding what's going to go on with wrestling. Between those four guys, you can make the greatest product that anyone's ever seen.
And it's not like they're not capable of doing it.
Yep. But basically, that's the end of our questions. We thank you guys for submitting them in. If anybody would like to submit some more, you can put them in on our Facebook, put them on our Twitter, put it down where?
Down there.
Right down in the comments, and we'll do another one of these again. But basically, that's all I have to say. Anything you need to add?
That's it.
My name is George Coles.
Gary Rhodes.
And this is Heel Heat.